I don't know if you guys are aware of what's been going on. Maybe go check out my videos from the past few days. You'll see what's been so unbeknownst to me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the conspiracy world didn't know that Brian Mullin put a video out about 3 months ago. Which, if you go back into my videos and you look at, you look up maybe 4 videos ago, 5 videos ago, you'll see the first "Where is Brian Mullin" video. So what ends up happening is in that video, you skip to the 50-minute mark, you'll see, hello person, if you're watching, share the video. You see me call Arte Engineers, which is where Brian Mullin supposedly works. Let's see, can I find it again? It's ARETEENGIN. There it is. It's arteengineers.com. Phone number is 828-434-0587. I can't leave comments on here, can I? I don't know how eBay works. I'm not big with this. Or, I mean, YouTube works real well. I don't know how this shit works. Does it allow me to share it while talking to you guys? I don't know. Anyway, not gonna bother. Arte Engineers. So I've been calling it Arteen. So this website of theirs has been the exact same for many, many, many years. If you're familiar with the Brian Mullin story, you can attest to the fact that the website has stayed the exact same, right? 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I'm not sure why, but I decided to look up my Brian Mullin video. That's what I was looking for. And when I did it, to my surprise, a video of Brian Mullin's popped up. Of Brian Mullin's, not Mullin. Like, yeah. Not right now. In a minute. Like Mullins in the. What? Of course. Okay, well. Yeah, it's time restart. It pauses. This page has been the same for years and years and years, and I've seen it for years. And 3 months ago, I did that expose, and yesterday, or the other day, I noticed that Brian Mullin put out this video that's very arrogant. It kind of doesn't look like him. It kind of does. It kind of doesn't. There's actually two. Brian Mullin hasn't been anywhere or done anything in 6 years. Suddenly, this page called Shank the Globe has 2 videos of Brian. One of him with and they both came out around the same day. They're him with a really long beard. One has him with a really long beard, looking emaciated, looking like pretty almost, just emaciated, looking bad. He looked bad. And then the next video was this what appears to be a response to my video, where I called his boss and I asked about him, and his boss told me that he had been abducted by aliens and then hung up on me. Again, that's Sean at Arte Engineers, 828-434-0587. And so within a day or two, or even the same day that I make my video, I don't know that. I know that my video came first because it's one of these things that can never be like, it's what it is. The way that YouTube works, the algorithm will put the videos in order that they came out. If you do search by date, it'll go from today on back. So if you look, the two videos, the response video, the first video in 6 years to come out with Brian saying, "Hey guys, I'm Brian. I think it's silly that people were looking for me, and it hurts the truth because somebody disappears and you just come up with crazy theories, and stop being weirdos and paranoid," and like just this insulting, really insulting video. But that video came out either the same day my video did, later on in the day, or within a couple days. And you have to, if you watch my video, you can clearly see he's talking to me. Come on, Nick. You know what, Nick? Be patient. Be patient. And he says just a bunch of shitty things, and that's that. And actually, I think the emaciated video is an old video. It doesn't quite look like him. It looks like a deep fake, kinda. But it's like he's making fun of the same people that he was talking a bunch. And the one thing is, he took like $200,000. I know his thing was the GoFundMe goal was like 150, and he doubled it or tripled it or some shit. And that was just before he disappeared. And so he doesn't say whether he believes the earth is round or flat. He just says that we're pretty much all idiots for being concerned about him. And then again, and that he was thinking about making another channel, but because people are concerned about his welfare, he's not going to. Like, when you break down what the video says, it's really dumb. Like, it really just, it sounds like a government sort of hush video, right? Like, they're going to cover all the and then they have his little handler on the side of him telling him what to say when he forgets some of the words, some of the lines that he's supposed to say. And I never thought, it might be Brian. I never I believed in Brian for a little bit, but I've thought Brian was an agent the whole time. So the idea that is Brian is very possible. Because he's an agent. He does what he's told. But that's not the weird part. The weird part is that I've been getting, well, that's not the only weird part. The weird part is today I go to Airtay Engineers, and now the profile picture has changed, and it features Brian with an M on his head. He's got the Majin Buu power. The page that hasn't changed in years and years and years suddenly has a Brian Mullin image on the front. And it's something to combat how I keep saying it's Arteen. They've added providing structural engineering services to bridge commercial and residential sectors. Arte, Air-I-Te, excellence and virtue. I always say this real quick. A-R-T, oops, R-E-T-E, Hebrew. A virtuous course of thought, feeling, or action. Virtue and moral goodness, any particular moral excellence as modesty, purity, part of speech, noun, feminine. That's not the Hebrew version. Arte meaning, Bible study, New Testament, Greek lexicon. Virtuous course of thought, feeling and action. Virtue, moral goodness. Arte. What the Bible says about arte. That is pretty funny. Arte is a concept in ancient Greek thought that, in its most basic sense, refers to excellence of any kind, especially in a person or things. It's weird, I can't find it in the Hebrew. There's no, usually it would bring up the Hebrew thing right away. Oh, look, we got up to 3. 3 of you watching. So, today, I've been getting death threats telling me that if I don't stop talking about Brian Mullin and Arte, that not only will I be sorry, but my family will suffer, and that they've already killed my mother and grandmother, so they're going to take my family next. That's what they're saying. It'd be scarier if my grandmother wasn't like 93 or some shit when she died. So she was old. Nothing special. My mother, on the other hand, that was a weird one, but I sort of think she killed herself and it got covered up. So, that's not really accurate. But it makes you wonder, so it's either some weirdo is really putting themselves in a dangerous position because that shit's illegal. You can't do that shit. You can get in some serious trouble. So some random person that's been obsessed with me for many, many years, and this is the best case scenario, I guess, right? Because that's what most people are going to think or try to tell themselves, is that it's just some random guy who has multiple accounts and manipulates Facebook more than anybody. And the thing is, it's like the average person's really dumb. The average person doesn't read the news. They don't know that the Israeli cybersecurity apparatus chief, former chief of the Israeli cybersecurity apparatus, flat out admitted that they control Facebook. When they have their system set up to flag any sort of pro-Palestinian or anti-Israel stuff, when they find it, they take it to Facebook. They contact Facebook. I don't know how you contact Facebook. I don't even know how Facebook hires people. There's no place that you can find that shows you how to contact Facebook. Maybe there is. I just couldn't find it. I'm not very computer smart though, so who knows? But somehow they're contacting Facebook, and within 24 hours, as he said, they can usually Facebook will usually comply to the request. Israel controls Facebook. If you're dumb enough to think that we're giving Facebook for free, Facebook has 2.9 billion users worldwide. They could charge you $1 per month onto your phone bill so you never even know it. $1 per month, and they could make $2.9 billion every month. And they choose not to give it to us for free. Why do you think they do that? And if you understand that that's what happens, to think that they can't manipulate that same system they provide us for free, they can't censor who they want to in certain ways, specific ways. They can't do whatever they want to with the program that they have. If you don't think that way, you're not thinking. If you have the ability to share this video on anywhere, especially in like flat earth forums, because everybody knows about Brian Mullin. Brian Mullin is a big deal in the flat earth world, right? Everybody wants to know what happened to Brian Mullin. He disappeared. And he didn't just disappear, he took everything down after taking the money and disappeared. Everybody wants to know because the world that we're in is a scary one. We know that people go missing all the time. We know how this government works. So the idea that Brian suddenly disappeared, that's not weird or paranoid for us to be concerned for him. That's community. You know, one of our brothers and sisters or sisters is now gone. Where are they? We should have all been saying that, and I think a lot of us were. So the fact that he's put out a video claiming that he just went through a rough divorce, so he took down his stuff, and that he'd make a new channel, but people were too concerned about him. Like, you know, less than 2-minute video where his handler towards the end starts telling him what to say because he can't think on his own. But then again, this happens 3 months ago, and here we are 3 months later, and Shank the Globe is the place where that video came from. And another flat earth page, one other flat earth page has shared that video. Nobody else has shared the video. Nobody else is talking about this. Brian Mullin fucking this is huge. This is a huge thing that Brian's just appearing out of nowhere after 6 years. That it happened to be later on in the day after I went live, or I did a video exposing him and calling his boss. And now that I stumbled back upon this story 3 months later, and I start making videos about it, and I start connecting with those other people at Shank the Globe and stuff like that. And here I am today, 3 days later, getting death threats telling me to stop talking about Brian Mullin and Airtay engineers. You think that's just all commonplace in this realm that we live in this truther world that we live in? This just happens to everybody? I've been doing this for a long time. I've been talking truth as long as I can remember. But before you could go live, I was making videos. Once you could go live, I was going live. I've dealt with everything you can deal with. Things weren't nearly as bad for me when I was talking about chemtrails and talking about Hollyweird and all that stuff. When I said in January of 2020, that I was no longer going to focus on all that stuff and was just going to focus on Israel and killing pedophiles, well, for some reason that took me to a whole different stratosphere. And I've been censored to bejesus ever since. 90 days ago, I was getting 18,000, 20,000 views on my live feed. Until it got censored for me being a dangerous person, because clearly I'm super dangerous. Any of this making sense to you guys? Threats? Who's going to do that? It's either crazy weirdos who have been obsessed with me for 8 years. That's not really how stalkers work, but... Or there's some legitimacy here. And, man, it sure is weird that the Airtay page changed their profile picture for the first time in 6 years or so, 5-6 years. Changing things up and to focus on Brian Mullin. So if you're wondering where Brian is, you can find him right away. I mean, I'm definitely like, when it comes to Airtay and this whole, it's clear I'm doing something. For Brian to come out of hiding after 6 years to respond to my video, that says a lot. tell me and tell me. Focus on it. Focus on the holes in my story. Focus on the holes in my presentation. Whatever I'm getting wrong, you tell me. Huh?
Is this in regards to, what are you calling about?
Weird, doesn't it? I'm just wondering why. Oh, it is. He's calling me back. He's calling back.
Hello, this is Sean with Airtake. Sorry I missed a call from me.
I'm just wondering why. How's it going? This multi-million-dollar company would have a voicemail that goes straight to one guy. That seems weird, doesn't it? There's no answering service or anything?
Well, I appreciate that you think we're a multi-million-dollar company.
You would be if you're...
Is this in regards to, what are you calling about?
He already knows. I was investigating where Brian Mullin is, because there's a lot of people that are concerned about him. And
Brian Mullin was abducted by aliens.
See, of course you can make jokes about it, because you don't have anything else to say. Ha-ha! Ha-ha! That's Brian Mullin's boss. How come when that comes up, first of all, he doesn't know who I am. When I say I'm investigating this, that, I could be any sort of press, anything. They don't know that. He doesn't know that. He could be really digging quite the hole at that point if I was some sort of press representative or something like that. And for him to say, instead of saying what ended up coming out the next day or two, that Brian was just going through. See, this is the part where it's all so. Maya, what's going on? Guys, if you're watching this, please take 2 seconds to share it. Share it on Facebook. Get this going so people can see this. Because this is important shit here. You know, where is Brian Mullin is an important question. Doesn't matter who it is. It's somebody that just disappeared. And like Craig McTavish's wife. Or not Craig McTavish. What's his name? David McTavish's wife. Isn't this David? What's the guy's name? David McTavish? The Scientologist leader's wife? Who's been missing for all this time? Like, shit like that needs to be addressed. So for a second there, I had 6 people on, and then they were just gone. There were three were just gone, same time. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. Brian was a top-notch sort of presenter. And to now have it be this weird, you know, like I was saying, for his boss to say what he said, instead of saying, yeah, Brian went through some real hard, you know, some real personal stuff for a while there. He just wanted out of the YouTube game. I wish you guys would tell each other this, but it's really nothing serious. He just, you know, he just wanted out, so he got out. And then what could you say? Especially, like I said, how come he didn't, before he didn't even leave? It's not like he left. He pulled his page down and all of his shit down after making a bunch of money. It's such an important Ken O'Keefe connection. At the same time Ken O'Keefe did the same shit, Brian Mullin was doing the same shit. And you have to ask yourself, what the hell was going on there? Why was his videos allowed to reach the heights they were to begin with? But all he had to do was release one more video and say, hey guys, you know, I've got a lot going on right now. I'm going to leave up my stuff so you guys can enjoy it, but I'd appreciate some privacy. I got a lot going on and I just kind of want to step away for a minute. You know, please respect that, and I'll let you guys know what's going on. Look what happened with Ben Swan's bitch ass. Ben Swan did the Pizzagate story, then was taken off air and disappeared, and even acknowledged that he was going to be gone for a while, disappeared, and almost a year to the date later, just sort of appeared back on the social media, but instead of telling everybody what happened, he was like, look, I'll tell everybody what happened. I got no problems with that. But that's going to be another video. This video, I want to tell you guys about some crypto stocks. Some Bitcoin. I want you guys to buy Bitcoin. And it was like this Bitcoin commercial. It was the weirdest shit. And he never really did address what the fuck happened to him. But the truth is, we accepted it. You know, he came back and it was fine. Everybody was like, good to see you. So if Brian were to just disappear and be like, look, I need some time alone, I'm going to go, everybody would respect that. It would actually be a better way for him to disappear, because there wouldn't be any alarm bells, or at least not nearly as many alarm bells going off with people. And he would just forget. Oh, wait. Not yet. We would just forget, and we would move on. But because he disappeared the way he did, where he just pulled all of his shit down after the successful GoFundMe campaign, he pulls all of his shit down and says nothing to anybody. What kind of assholes would we be if we weren't concerned about him? We, as the community that appreciates the work he put in and the videos and the knowledge that he gave us. For us to not show concern when this man, this educator disappears, that's not okay. I've heard English is hard to learn. I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you with that. So now we you know, we're here a couple days later, and it's about, there's something about me. You might not see it, you might not agree, but it's clearly there. Well, the first time he disappeared, back in 2015 or whatever, it was me reaching out to the Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes chick, which sparked him to make his comeback and put out the rest of the videos in the series. And of course, he never said anything about the absence. But to think that he responded to me 3 months ago, and now my videos are being responded to again by our teen, changing their profile pic, and me getting death threats, well, that's definitely interesting. You have to admit that's interesting. I find it all fascinating. Normally the stuff I deal with isn't on this, like, it's not on that personal level. Normally I'm a big picture kind of guy, so to have it be so connected to me is a strange feeling. And if you're watching, please share if you can. I don't even know how this works. I'm used to Facebook, so I don't know how this works. I just want people to understand, man. Like, you're smarter and you're better at this than you think. You're a better barometer of truth than you think you are. And whenever you hear you see a story, a video, whatever, and it's setting off those bells and whistles in your head telling you something's not right, go with it. The worst that can happen is that you're wrong. Who gives a shit if you're wrong? You know? It's only the really shallow, fucking dumbass, not worth your time person that's going to remember that one time you were wrong about something and hold that against you. Well, you were wrong that one time. Yeah, well, that's how you know I'm right more often than not, because I'm at least willing to be wrong. We've been brainwashed into thinking being wrong is like this tremendous thing. And it's so not. It's how you get better. It's how it's how you learn stuff. You think something is one way and you're wrong, and you learn how it's this, that, or the other. Or you learn that you were right, but how you were right, why you were right. I it's all about making it make sense. You have to make the thing make sense. Whatever it is, make sense. If it doesn't make sense, don't go with it. Trust yourself. Trust this whole process. Trust the process. Trust that if it's wrong, you'll know it. You won't have to convince yourself that it's wrong. It's right. If anything, you have to convince yourself that the things that you believe to be right, that this thing is debunking or stepping on, that somehow they're still right. Brian Mullin didn't make a bunch of videos so that nobody would see them. How come, did you see the video? There's a video going around it's called Neil deGrasse debunking flat earthers or smashing flat earthers or something like that. Neil deGrasse Tyson style. And this guy is such an idiot. He says, I don't debate with people. I don't see the point in debating with people, because I don't see the point in debating with people when I have the definitive truth and they don't. Well, how are you going to get through people's objections and shit? People are just supposed to submit to you? Is that what you're saying? And at not one point does he debunk a single fucking thing. He talks about how he sent B.O.B. a message, a video letter, and he said, and I put him in his place, and got this little smug smile. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say link the video down below and you guys can see all of my points that I make and how I destroy the points that he makes, and none of that shit. Where'd B.O.B. go? What happened? The Neil deGrasse Tyson video it's one of those videos that, like, there's this weird part, like as somebody who believes the thing that he's supposedly going to debunk, there's a hesitation in going to watch it because, you don't want to feel like an idiot, right? There's a good chance he's going to say a couple of things and you're going to go, oh, fuck. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm an idiot. And people don't like that feeling. So, I have that hesitation when I see that video. It's like, uh-oh, what's he going to say? And I watched that video live for the first time. It's not like I watched it beforehand and I'm like, all right, guys, you got to see this. I watched it live, totally risking everything. He could have come in and said a bunch of stuff that was really profound and brought me back to his line of thinking, because I used to think like that. I just got more information and don't think that way anymore. But instead, this video that has 2.5 million views or whatever it is, that because of the title, because of the character, because of the arrogant way that he delivers the message, and like he's basically calling you stupid. Like he goes, at one point he goes, I'm all for freedom of speech as long as you aren't influencing other people. What? What? The fuck are you talking about? Like everything he says one thing and then the next thing he says contradicts it. It happens over and over again throughout the video. And if anything, it like I'm telling you about it now because it's such a non-threat. It's such a, it's the lack of evidence is evidence for, or whatever, for the you not being able to come up with evidence for your argument means my argument's more right. It's fucking crazy. It really, think that like they could easily end all of the debates, right? All one panel, all one news station has to do is say, okay, you know what? We're sick of this. We're gonna get Neil deGrasse Tyson. We're gonna pay whatever it costs to get Neil deGrasse Tyson, and whatever smart people, that the Asian guy and the couple of chosen guys, and we're gonna get them all on a panel and on a stage, and we're gonna have Eric Dubay show up all by himself. And we're gonna let them go at each other. And there's gonna be a moderator there that won't let people like Neil deGrasse Tyson try to bully, because that's what he does. He always gets real loud and bullies, and he's the black guy, so he's intimidating. Even in the nerd world, there's still that hierarchy, I guess. I've offered this many times, man. To flat earthers, videos like 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball, balls out physics, but let's just stick with 200 proofs. 200 proofs to me especially is the sort of like Bible book, right? It's the one where when you start asking me really basic questions like, oh really, well how does the sun work? Well, those are round, we see round planets in the sky, you're telling me everything else is round and this isn't? Like when you start saying those kind of basic things, you're telling me you haven't bothered to research anything into this. It's like you're arguing with me about the complexities of German, but you don't actually speak any German. And it's like you're just gonna rely on your cursory middle school, high school knowledge that you barely remember, maybe a couple of PBS videos you've seen, versus me, who's trying to shatter your whole illusion to begin with. And what, you're just gonna trust me on things? You're already coming at me probably angrily. People are always angry about the earth-shape argument for some reason. But when you start asking those questions, it's like, look, go watch 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball before we get into this discussion. That way, all of the basic stuff can be answered. I want you to get a pencil and paper and you write down every number that you think you can debunk. And then once you've watched the video, we'll go back, you and me, and you'll bring up the numbers, and I'll look it up, and we'll talk about which numbers are which, right? We'll talk about which thing. Okay, so number 15 you can debunk because of what? And we'll have that conversation. But when you're asking how the sun works and the seasons and that shit, I can't explain it to you without diagrams and shit. It's a lot easier with the diagrams and the visual aid that's provided to you through 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball. So it becomes one of those sort of, universal check this out things, right? Before you get in a conversation with me, check this out. And you, the system, can provide that same video against us, right? You bring me on your stage, you bring me on TV, in front of a panel of your smart people, and let me talk about all the conspiracy stuff I can. Let me talk about Israel. And you have all those questions, all the religion, you bring a couple of pastors, preachers, cardinals maybe. Bring a rabbi or two. And let me ask a bunch of questions that those people then answer. And by the end of it, I look like a total schmuck. I look like a fool because you guys have successfully answered every question I've had and debunked all of the problems I have. And from here on out, anytime anybody wants to have that discussion, they can say, go watch that news, go watch that thing that the news did with that guy. And that one guy, and they had the representatives there, and he said this, and they answered it. And he said this, and they answered it. It took about a half hour, and he was just dumbfounded. By the end of it, he said he believed in God. Because that's what should happen, right? All these people that have all this truth that's supposedly been here for millennia, they shouldn't be worried about little old me. But you could create your own 200 proofs that truthers are crazy just by having me come on and letting your smarties come at me. Why has that never happened? When you see every time you see anything that happens to do with vaccines, every panel, when they had Lindenberger, what's his name? Lindenberger, the guy, the 18-year-old guy that after growing up with a mom who didn't vaccinate, supposedly, and he never got sick or anything like that, when he turned 18, he went and got himself vaccinated. And somehow, not only was that a local news story, not only was that a statewide news story, not only was that a national news story, this kid was invited to testify in front of Congress on behalf of the vaccine committee, who, while he was speaking, they were interviewing a guy, and one of the guys said, yeah, this is great because the youth of the world, whenever they see these panels, they see a bunch of old stuffy white men up here saying the same things. But now they see a kid who defied his parents and, kind of has that rebel thing going, and he's their age and he looks like them, and they're more apt to listen to somebody like him. They flat out said why they did it. They created this whole narrative that his mom was a crazy truther who got her information from Facebook, and she was unwisely got her information from Facebook and was, foolish and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, did you or your brothers and sisters ever get sick? No. And the funny thing is, you look up pictures and all of the pictures are like the family sitting on the couch and he's standing behind them. The family is standing for a picture at the park and he's standing behind them. He's taller than they all are for some reason. And none of their names are Lindenberger, but his is. You know, all these, you just don't realize how much fake news is out there. I challenge you to find pictures of Botham Jean as a young man. As a young kid, go find pictures of him. I challenge you to find, you know, find pictures of Robert Bowers Jr. outside of the mugshots and stuff. Find pictures of these guys. Find evidence that this stuff really happened. I think my family's Project Paperclip. Thousands and thousands of supposed Nazi scientists and engineers and all that shit were either brought to the United States or to Russia and given lives. They were divvied up among the superpowers, supposedly. And they were given lives and aliases and new names and all that shit. Thousands of them. How come I'm the only one I know that says I think my family's Project Paperclip? There should be tons of us. Where are all the people related to the TWA Flight 800 victims? Where are all the Oklahoma City family members? All these huge events happened, and none of those people ended up being related to someone like me. Isn't that strange? Where are all these people? Where are all the family members of the victims of any of it? Especially when it's something like TWA Flight 800, where it's as obvious as it could possibly be that it was a military fuck up, and then it was a cover up. It's as obvious as it gets. Like Oklahoma City, same thing. As obvious as it gets that something else, that something other than what we're told happened. Waco, another one of those things that wasn't what we're told. It's obvious. More information has come out since that shows it wasn't what we're told. Where are all the family members of those people? Kobe's rape victim. Remember, Kobe supposedly raped that woman and settled out of court for like $20 million or some shit. Then got married and changed his number, and he went from 8 to 24 and blah, 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 blah. Remember? When Kobe died, not one reporter wanted to know what she thought. She's been in hiding ever since. We still don't know who she is. When Kobe died, there was no funeral. Well, there was a funeral, but Kobe's wife contacted the media and asked them not to show up, so they didn't. Not one person with a camera with a telescopic lens was taking pictures from a couple thousand feet away on top of a building or something. Nobody, not one. And all of the people that would have supposedly been at Kobe's funeral were working that day. They didn't miss anything. Nobody missed a beat. So who the fuck, where's Kobe's funeral? So much fucking wrong that don't make no sense. And we just take it. We just don't take everything. Like, what? What happened? Anyway, this Brian Mullin thing is really weird. Go back, watch the previous videos. Search "Where is Brian Mullin?" You can see the video for yourself of him that was made in response to me. And I don't know. I'm putting this out there. The death threats come true. You guys knew I was getting them. It's obvious. So hopefully you continue my work after me. See ya.